We're in the Manatee Historical Village Park today. This is Manatee County's version of restoration and recovery and preservation in terms of their older buildings and their historic buildings, structures, and tools, that sort of thing. Directly behind me, and this is very unique in my experience in these types of villages that each one of these counties or geographical areas will do, is the Wiggins General Store. What makes it unique is that the Wiggins General Store was built on that location. It hasn't moved, it hasn't been moved. I don't know that I've ever seen any other historic park where the buildings were not moved from somewhere else, every single one of them. Certainly in Cracker Country, the Pinellas version, Fort Christmas, on and on and on. They were all built somewhere else and then either moved or reassembled and moved to that location. This one was built right there. It's built in 1903. It's a two-story brick building and with a three-sided wraparound porch for energy efficiency. What makes it significant in terms of the brick is that in those days, brick was mostly brought by water. We're not right next to water. We're close to the river, geographically speaking, but it's not on the river. These guys had to hump these bricks a long way from whatever dock they picked them up from to get them here and build this thing. So that made it significant, and I'm sure that added to the expense of it all. This is also really cool, is that this little brick walkway that we're going to see again in a moment that runs right in front of the Wiggins store was Grand Central Highway. It was Broadway back in the day. It's what is known as the Cracker Trail, and it was what 64 is now, which was a east-west thoroughfare. This guy, King Wiggins, he built this store with the thought that he would be near the railroad. Turns out the railroad was built down there and he kind of lost out on that part of that business, but he didn't go broke. This was a heavily traveled thoroughfare. The first floor contains a store, the second floor contained rooming houses, and he built thinking that people who had traveled throughout the county to get here to Bradenton, which was county seat, would have to come to his store and get a room there. And so it was a very forward-thinking entrepreneur, businessman type of guy, and I'm sure he did very well. This building was condemned and boarded up in 1983. Over the subsequent years, the Manatee County Historic Society, whatever political organization that was, restored it, picked it up and restored it. And in doing so, they put all these other buildings here. There's a bunch of other buildings here. I don't know, 8 or 10 other buildings. I know for sure the Manatee County, the original Manatee County Courthouse, which is on the National Register of Historic Places, is here. There's a church. There's a couple of other houses. There's some barns, a boat works. So there's a bunch of other stuff here. I'm not sure how much room they have to expand, but it's a very, very cool place. We're going to check it all out little by little. First off, we're going to go check out this amazing little store boarding house. I'm going to try not to twitch around too much. This is the Cracker Trail. This is the terminus, the western terminus of the Cracker Trail, as designated by the state of Florida back in the 80s, I guess it was. And it runs all, theoretically it runs all the way to the east. And it's the trail that they would have used to drive the cattle in and that sort of thing. Obviously, it would have taken a few turns and twists and everything, but and it would have had to cross the river at some point unless they used a ferry, and I'm not even sure about how that worked. So we're going to go in here now and we're going to check out this building. This is I'm not sure which of the which part of the wood is original, but the bricks are completely original. They haven't gone anywhere. They haven't done anything. But this was restored on this location, and we'll try to get a good shot of this. Sign. It's very informative how they built it and cooling that they used, the technology that they had available to them at that day to make it as cool as possible, including the wraparound porches, which would have kept the sun off of the windows. And as we can see in true typical Florida fashion, we have these enormous windows, tall windows built to allow airflow. They're built in true old school Florida fashion to permit airflow. And they would have been built basically directly across from another one, just like we've seen in all these types of buildings. This was a little more advanced for its time. The guy probably put a lot more money into it for that reason. Well, I'm sure he put a lot more money into it. You had to. It would have cost a ton of money to get a bunch of guys out here, but it took considerable time and effort to build it. I've been here once before. Tried to come back a few times over the years, but they're never open on the weekends. It's very hit and miss, and it's very very iffy. But anyway, we're here now. So I've never been. That was the point of that. Was that I've never been on the second floor. The second floor wasn't open when I came in. So we're on the second floor now. We're in the balcony. We're going to go inside in a moment. We're going to see the second floor from that angle. All right, we're going to go inside now.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So we're in for a real treat today. We actually have people sitting around in rocking chairs, just as they would have done 100 and some years ago. Yeah, and that's what they would have said 100 and some years ago. So that's pretty unique and interesting. And this is exactly how you would have seen it in 1903. You would have come in and it would have been full of all sorts of material and goods from the day. And of course, a guy in this position would have sold anything and everything. Everything from guns and bullets all the way up. Gift shop. We're not going to go in there. Can't afford it right now anyway. Okay, and so we are going to go upstairs. Try to be slow. So we're going to go upstairs to what were the rooming houses back in the day, and are now parts of the museum. This is more or less a museum now. These are saddles. Little school saddles. Not yokes, but I can't think of what they call them, but that's something that would have gone over the horse's head and things would have hooked to it. Those are bits. I do know that. There's a potty chair. There's a little teeny baby potty chair. Here's some branding irons. And some information to tell you what the brands were. And how they identify cattle. Oh, he's lucky he didn't get hanged. U.S. Cavalry saddlebags. Spurs, stirrups. Very neat stuff. Well, this is from the Unico Post Office. Isn't Unico out by Orlando, or am I thinking? No, that's a Coe. That's a Coe, right. Bing, bing, bing. I've seen that. Okay, we're going to go in here. Oh, we have turpentine. Harvesting turpentine. Distilling the turpentine. These are tools. Oh, that's a big old hurdy cup. Big, huge hurdy cups. Okay, and we're going to go. And these buildings are rooms are administrative, so we're not going to really worry about them. But hi, I'm sorry. Quick question: the configuration of these rooms are original?
Yes.
Doorways, etc.
It's original floor plan, but everything.
Okay, that's what I meant, floor
is
plan.
reproduction.
Right.
So it was.
But I mean, this would have been the doorway. That would have been
Yes.
doorway. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So, that's pretty cool. We're gonna go back downstairs and photograph, and then go see some other cool stuff.